we go down to 10 men, you've got to still go and win. And I think Roy Keane said this a few weeks ago, and at the time, it was again after the City game, which I think that's the one game where you could have some sort of sympathy. But I think Roy was talking about it within relation to the Brighton game and saying, go and win with 10 men. I do genuinely believe yesterday against Bournemouth at 0-0 with 10 men, they should go and win that match.
Against a team like Bournemouth, I did expect to win. I'm not going to lie. I did expect to win, but also it is a Premier League team, and you can't keep expecting going down to 10 men and coming away with a victory. It's just simple as. But I do want to get into the video today. We're going to be looking at a couple of reactions from over the weekend. Yeah, we Monday morning QB in it. Well, it's afternoon, but you know what I mean. And the reaction from some people from the weekend, man, it's just interesting to see. And let's review it. But I do have to show this video. I do notice there is a discrepancy within the refereeing in this league, and listen, it's not newsflash and it's not surprising. The referees in the Premier League is not the best, simply put. But I did notice this video, and let's take a look at this one. Are you surprised? Like, yeah, man, that's refereeing in this country. Like, I'm saying in this country, like I'm there. I mean, you know what I mean. It's a referee in the EPL, man. Like, similar fouls, similar situation. Yes, they were a day apart, but is there an Arsenal agenda? I don't think so. Honestly, I'm being for real. I'm just keeping it a stack. I don't think there's an Arsenal agenda, but I do think referees are shit. That's a fact. That we can see. That we can definitively see. And it just so happened, coincidentally, that the referees are bad for every other team, not named Man City. Let's get into some reaction from this weekend. We had some interesting takes, man. But hey, let's check it out.
Absolutely not the result that we needed today.
Nah, man. I just want you to ask me some questions because I don't know where to start. I'll be honest with you. I mean, 2-0 to Bournemouth, regardless of 10 men. It was an embarrassing performance, an embarrassing result.
Absolutely.
That is a fact. I mean, man, I would have took 2-0 next week to Liverpool if we went down to 10 men. But I think that's what makes it more, disheartening because it was Bournemouth.
So let's, in terms of the questions, let's go even from the starting lineup. Obviously, we saw the midfield three that we did today with Partey, Declan Rice, and Marino. I think one of the things that we highlighted on the watch along was that there's a severe lack of creativity in that midfield. Do you think that's one of the factors that has costed us today?
That was the most criminal thing too. Like starting three defensive midfielders is, I don't know, it's not sack worthy, but it's towing the line.
Yeah. And people are probably ready for this, but it dates back to the transfer window. People like to say, "Oh, I want to, point to the transfer window an awful lot," but we must, because we had a few absences.
I ain't gonna lie, that's a low hanging fruit, but let him go.
Today, unfortunately, but I think creating chances has been a problem for us all season. Year on year, it's been a problem for us. Now people can argue, 3 of the 8 games, 10 men, and 3 of the 8 games away, tough, Villa, Tottenham.
It is a valid point though.
City and the metrics will be affected by those types of games and the incidents in the game. Fair enough, but in the first 30 minutes today before the red card, did we create anything? No. So if Odegaard missing leads to a drop off in creativity as much as it does and as much as we've seen, that means we're light in that position. And it was naive of us to think we could go in light in any position when you're going up against City, let alone in a position that's been so vital for us. Forget Odegaard as a captain who's been quality. Odegaard as a player, he is quality. I'm not asking for like, but what I'm asking for is someone that's not 17, someone that started, games at the highest level. That's what I'm asking for. But instead, we leave ourselves with a 17-year-old where, in the end, we've got to bring him on 2-0 down.
Yeah, but I will say though, Trossard is actually a very good backup. Why didn't Trossard start in the 10 and put Jesus out on the left? I know, like, listen, I'll keep it real. We are Monday morning QB. And if you don't get the reference, I want to go into a whole, this is a football channel. Ironically, I'm talking about American football when I say Monday morning QB. But it's just, That just made more sense than starting 3 defensive-minded midfielders. That to me is, I literally cannot wrap my mind around that decision. I even from when I first saw it, I was like, what is this gonna do? Like, are we asking Declan to play the 10, Marina to play the 10, Partey to play the 10? Like, what are we doing right now? And I'm like, yo, if he pulls this off, it's gonna be a masterclass. And as we can see, yeah, going down to 10 men didn't help, but he's right though. We weren't showing anything in the first um half before even my boy Saliba did a madness and got sent off.
And we're not. Is all hope out the window? No, there's still a lot of games to go.
True.
But already game week 8, some of the deficiencies we left ourselves with in the summer are rearing its head.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, because it is unfortunate, but at the same time, how many seasons has this been the case? Maybe not last season. I agree.
it is coupled with getting sent off though. Like, and it's been 3 boneless sending off. It hasn't been like, arguably all 3 sending offs were justifiable under the rules. Let's keep it a stack. The part of the argument that Arsenal fans do have a valid argument is that it's not consistent with all the other teams. So we can't argue that the sending off have been unjustifiable. What the argument can be made, though, is that the referees haven't shown that type of application to every other team. That's the part that we're like, yo, WTF.
Last season's summer transfer window was the only transfer window in our history of Emirates that we all felt the confidence that we go again. We missed out on the title, but we go again. This summer was a very different feeling. And I think as much as people want to skirt around what I believe is the obvious, it has come back to bite us now. In the first 8 games, we've dropped points in 3 of those. That's not ideal.
Of course, I understand.
Yeah, and he's spot on with that. Like, if we expect to win the league, dropping these critical points, and you know how it is come the end of the season, when it's crunch time, man, it's gonna be hard. Those Turkish takes on this weekend performance, I ain't gonna lie though. This one, this one took I actually laughed watching this. Back in the day when it was prime AFTV and chill moments, I used to just laugh after a loss. And it actually made me feel bad. This take by lead judges, man. Y'all gotta check this one out.
He come on the telly yesterday. I was intrigued to what he was going to say, and he turned around and said, "Oh, there was 2 big mistakes today." Well, let me tell you, Mikel, there was 3. Your team selection was the biggest mistake of all. You catering for I don't know why you've done it, but listen. And another thing that really annoys me is a lot of fans. Every time I see a fan, sometimes, do you know what they ask me? Like, the question is like, if we don't win a trophy, he's got to go, Lee, and he's got to go. And I argue the case. Yesterday, he gave every single fan that thinks that the ammo for that. And
I mean, he's right on that point. Listen, everybody, I hate to keep using this guy, but he's like the first one that pops up in my head. All the league gunners of this world yesterday was prime league gunner, rhetoric of Arteta ain't the guy, he won't win us a major trophy. Like, I think the counter argument can be made and should be made really is that, but he's playing with his hands behind his back. Because when you get down to 10 men, like, all your tactics kind of get thrown out the window. All the plans that you had for that game get thrown out the window. And yeah, Saliba got sent off in like the 40th minute. So there was still a sample size of that first half where you could be like, well, your tactics sorting out didn't work. And it was quite obvious that it wasn't working. And yeah, maybe he could have switched it up at halftime, or maybe the game had to, the team had to grow a little bit more into the game for us to say whether it worked or didn't work. But up until that point, it wasn't working. All the people there are like, yeah, Arteta don't know what he's doing. He still punching above his weight. Not to say they were proven right, but it didn't help the kind of argument that he isn't the man for the job.
I look at them now, and fans, we've lost 1 game, boys, and fans online and everything can't wait to mention about how poor a manager he is and we ain't going to get us over the line. And I'm sitting there yesterday after that decision yesterday to cater Marino into that side. I'm tending to agree with them, and it winds me up. It winds me up that I'm thinking that
I ain't
because
gonna lie though. Lee's the same type of guy that was like, I was wrong on Arteta. He is the man. He's gonna win us. He was gonna bring us to an invincible season again. I'm not calling him a flip flop. Y'all thought it. I ain't say it. Y'all thought it. I ain't say it.
I'm thinking to myself, are you ruthless enough? I've seen you ruthless enough. I've seen you ruthless on decisions. But when it mattered, when you should have been ruthless for the 3 points, you catered. You went down the road, which you should never have gone down. Playing midfield, you've got a player like a kid that can play that role. And you put in a midfield player never seen do it, and the performance up to the sending half was as bad as, or maybe even worse than it was at Fulham last season. And it does.
I can't co-sign that one. That Fulham game was definitely worse.
Worry me now if he is going to be. Listen, we can't go overboard. It's one game, and that's what I'm going to try and do. But when you hear people constantly saying, if you don't win nothing, this is why. This is that game yesterday is why those fans say it.
That's true, though. That is true. Does he have a point? Will Arsenal and this manager win something? Y'all let me know. We can't end this video without showcasing Arsenal fan favorite. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I know I'm not the only one that does it. Every time we lose, this is probably one of the first fan reaction we go look for. And yes, y'all guessed it right. Our man, the myth, the legend, the People's Choice Award for the most hated rival of Arsenal.
2. Super duper, scary, scintillating, champions, world class.
His sarcasm always gets me too.
Unbelievable. Had an underrated start. Fantastic. Super duper. Unbelievable. Champions elect. Arsenal.
You forgot mentality monsters.
0. We're smoking that it's been coming pack. Because, believe it or not, that result has been coming. 3 red cards in 8 games. Oh, but we were robbed. No, we weren't. No matter how many times Flowers, Henry, and all the other people that are jumping on the gravy train want to tell you, mutants out there, that Arsenal were robbed.
And it's so funny that he always calls out the Football Terrace, which is Terry Fluid's channel. Henry Talks Football. I almost said Henry Talks Arsenal too, because that's what he always said. Yeah, Henry Talks Arsenal, which I will say, I do believe Terry, just a little bit of a side note here, but I do believe Terry does his channel in good faith. I do believe that. Henry Talks Football. Listen, I don't know the man. I don't know his intentions. I do see a little bit of a pandering towards Arsenal fans. And Arsenal fans, they eat it up. And hey, listen, the man is doing something that, put a little chump change in his pocket and is moral in terms of, maybe not from a Spurs fan point of view, but is moral in terms of society. He ain't hurting nobody. He's giving his review on a football team that is supposed to be his rival. But hey, it is what it is. No qualms or hate over here. But listen, at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? Like, for real, who cares? But man, Lee gonna be goddamn about to have a heart attack, watching these damn fan channels.
We had 1 shot on target the entire game. How many shots did we have on target when we had 11 men? 0. How many shots did we have in total with 11 men? 1. Piss off. This club stinks, mate. Yeah, throwing Ethan onto the pitch 2-0 down. Yeah. Unbelievable. Ethan, my G, if you're watching this, put transfer request in and jam, mate. This manager's a scumbag. Yeah, and I've been telling everyone since the 25th of November, 2000
2019. We're now literally 1 month and 6 days away from that being exactly 5 years to the day. 800 million deep. The fixed bench. That's going well, isn't it? Kivior. I did tell everyone his shit, but he wanted to sound negative. He can do a job. Okay, what job's he doing?
He and his reactions are always over the top. It doesn't matter whether we win, lose, or draw. You know you're gonna get something from him that's like, all right, bro. Like, I don't know. That's a very angry man, and there's a club that you actually care for, and we have been spoiled as a fan base. You know, we are used to our team winning. If you're an old school fan, I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough where I have seen my team win the title, you know. So yeah, we have been spoiled. And I do understand how angry one can get seeing their team not winning any major trophies for the better part of a decade or two. So yeah, I do get the anger. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Also, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, ease in the money.